Bang! You probably didn't expect this one. Zara carbon plated race shoe, $170, landed at the shoe market for review. Now, if you're interested in picking up a carbon race shoe, or if you're interested in getting the latest insights on weird, unconventional shoes like this and you're a shoe enthusiast, make sure you're on the Supwell app. So I talked about this yesterday. If you watched the Boston 13 video, I said Supwell app probably 20 times, and somebody commented, do you get paid by the sponsor for saying the app name each time? And it's actually my app, if you haven't heard. It's my app, so yes, I do. I take my money from my left pocket, $1 each time, and put it in my right pocket. So make sure you're on the app if you're interested in these shoes. And I want to show you, not just tell you, show you. These are some of the great deals that have gone on the Supwell app recently. Bang! Nike Alpha Fly 3. We had one go up in a women's size 6 by my friend Paula, and she was saying we need some more women on the app. I agree. So if you're interested in a women's size 6, she listed it really fair pricing, $130. Get on the Supwell app. More traditional sizes. Let's see. A6 Metaspeed Sky Paris. We had one of these go up on the app in that white and pink colorway just this morning for below MSRP. You could probably negotiate with them. I think he listed it in 200 something. That's the other great thing about the Supwell app. It's like Facebook Marketplace. You send somebody a DM and then you can negotiate. I would advise it. Work out a fair price. Work out a trade. It's a community where hobby joggers helping each other. The last one that I wanted to talk about was the Cielo X1 2.0. I've seen a few of these go up recently since it came out. This is a weird shoe. I'm still personally trying to figure it out, but some people have decided it hasn't worked for them and they've listed it for below MSRP just 1 week after it going on sale. So if you're interested in any of these shoes or the community, just being part of the best hobby jogger community out there, make sure you get on the Supwell app, and I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. Oh man, I was hoping that would be a lot cooler. I wanted it to drop and then land and just say Zara. Bang! So we have a fun one today. This is the Zara $170 carbon plated running shoe. I was not expecting this. Nobody was expecting this. So this thing started popping off on the gram last week. Great job, Zara, getting some organic viral marketing. Zara, if you're not familiar with them, they're a fast fashion brand. They're out of Spain. I actually went to college in New York. And so when I went to college in New York, this was in the 2010s, Zara was just starting to get a foothold on the market. So whenever we needed to look fly, me and the boys, we'd pop out to Zara or H&M. You know, we're on a budget. We're in college. But Zara was a great place to get stuff for going out, for hitting the town, for going to formal, for going to whatever type of event. Affordable. They crank stuff out quickly. A lot of people, there's backlash against the model of fast fashion because they do produce a lot of goods, but their business model has evolved, and now they're actually coming out with a performance running shoe from their Zara Athletics brand. So who knows if this is going to be a banger? Who knows if this is just going to be a gimmick? To me, it looked like a real shoe. It looked like they actually put some intention behind it to make it a shoe that would work well. So let's open up this thing and check it out. This is the weirdest shipping box I've ever seen. It's all folded in on itself in funky ways. Okay, here we go. I think I'm just going to have to kind of pop it. Is it like this? Okay, there we go. I'm trying to do this the right way, but I think I just need to tear it open. This is not civilized. Okay. Oh, wow. So that was actually... that box was the shoe box. I don't keep my shoe boxes, but if you do keep your shoe boxes and you're going to buy this shoe, don't do what I did, because that was the shoe box. That wasn't just the shipping box. So here we have it here. Unboxing or unpapering the Zara Athletics with a Z carbon plated shoe. Bada boom, bada bang. Okay. You know what this looks like to me? This really looks like they took the silhouette of the Alpha Fly, specifically the Alpha Fly OG, and just straight up ripped it, straight up copied it. Let me go grab it. They even have the same colorway as this. This is, and that's what these brands do, right? That's what Zara, their entire business model is founded on. Putting out designs quickly. Like I was saying, right, for when we were in college, we couldn't afford to go to Theory. We couldn't afford to go to Tom Ford. But you could get a similar look at whatever was trending from Zara for a quarter of the price, an eighth of the price. So look at this. If you compare the Alphafly OG to the Zara Athletics, you'll see they do the same exact thing where they cut out. They stole that from the Alphafly. And guess what? On the Alphafly, there's a purpose for this split front and back. On the Zara shoe, there's not a real purpose. I guess you could say it's to shave weight, but they are going for a very similar silhouette. They even have this ducktail. It reminds me more of the Alphafly 2, actually, now that I'm looking at it. And that's a shoe that I don't have. That's one of the few race shoes I have not tried, but I have tried the 3 and I have tried the 1, so there wasn't really a purpose. But the Alphafly 2, it comes out in the back here in a very similar way. Upper is also, let's see, where did they get this upper from? Is that Vaporfly 2? Yep. Okay, look at this. This is a copy and paste. Vaporfly 2 upper, which actually has one of the best uppers, but you can see they use the same exact material right here. Look around the top, this soft suede material. That's exactly what you're getting on the Zara Athletic shoe. They even, if you look at the back, they even do the same thing on the back, where instead of Nike printing this time, Zara prints Zara Athletics on the back. But regardless of the design, actually, I'm not going to say regardless of the design, because the design is one of the important elements of this shoe. As a more fashion-oriented brand, Zara wants to put something into the market that looks a certain way. So it certainly does look like a performance running shoe. They have these dots on the upper. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I would have just left it plain Jane. It's not really adding a purpose here, and it doesn't add any visual appeal in my hobby jogger opinion. On the inside here, they printed the drop and the stack, so we will measure this in. We'll see what the stack is. But it says drop 8 millimeters, stack 38 millimeters, and carbon plate. Now, when it comes to the purpose of a carbon plate, why do we have a carbon plate in a shoe, in a running shoe? Let me show you. This shoe right here is the Saucony Endorphin Elite. This is the best example of why carbon plates are in running shoes. The primary purpose is to stabilize a tall stack of squishy foam. Without the plate in a shoe like this, look at how much this foam collapses in on itself. Without the plate, this shoe would be a complete mess because it would be collapsing all the way down to the ground. There would be no stability when you turned. The entire shoe would just slide to the side. This is like a marshmallow. Right? It's like trying to eat a s'more where instead of graham crackers, you have melted marshmallows as the buns, or the sandwich, the carbohydrate portion of the sandwich. That just would not work. So it's the structure. It's the graham cracker to the s'mores. However, if you're just eating a non-toasted marshmallow, you can just pop it in your mouth. You don't need any graham cracker to hold it together, right? So in a shoe like this, bro, this has got to be one of the firmest foams I have ever touched on a race shoe. And this is where, just feeling this now, this doesn't seem like it's a legit running shoe when I'm pushing in this foam. And it doesn't seem like there's a purpose for this the plate when I feel this foam from the outside. Feeling it from the bottom, it actually seems a bit better. But on initial test here, this seems like it's going to be a super firm shoe. And with a shoe like this, if it's this firm, you don't need a plate. There's lots of training shoes out there that don't have a plate, or they could have gone plastic plate. So the carbon plate, carbon is a commodity. It's probably not that expensive to source these carbon plates, but it did get people talking, right? So it got people talking, the carbon plated shoe from Zara. It got me to purchase it. I spent how much was it? Let me look up if it's $160 or $170. $169, so $170. Now, they're also calling this foam TPE-A foam. Guess what? I learned a while back TPE doesn't actually mean anything. That's what a materials engineer told me. They said that all types of foams are thermoplastic elastomers. It's basically like saying compound. So this doesn't tell us anything about what this is. I have no idea what type of compound this is, and that's not really the point. I don't care what type of material they're using. I care how this guy runs. So let's put it through our lab tests here, and then we can take it out there and actually get some miles in it. This legit might be one of the firmest foams I've felt. All right, let's weigh in a benchmark shoe first. So this is the Boston 13. This came out yesterday. This is representative of the type of shoe, the Zara Athletics carbon shoe. I don't even know if it has a name. I think they just call it the carbon plated running shoe. This is what it's trying to be. A marathon training shoe or a distance running shoe that's designed for performance, for speed, for distances. These do-it-all types of shoes with carbon plates. In the case of the Adidas, the Boston 13, this is coming out in a month or so, it has carbon energy rods, or I don't know the exact material. They're either glass or carbon, but stiff energy rods in here that function like a plate. So this one comes in at 274 grams. All right. That's our benchmark. The Zara shoe comes in at 292.5 grams. So that's not actually terrible. It is heavier than a shoe like the Boston 12, but shouldn't feel super heavy on foot. Let's compare another one for some context here. This is the Asics S4 Plus, a 4-hour marathon shoe from Japan. Comes in at 259 grams. So it's in the same ballpark. It's not like it's coming in as heavy as a Timberland boot, but it's definitely not an innovation. In a product like this, they're not going for innovation. They're going for good enough, it seems. Let's steal elements from other shoes and make it good enough. Now, one thing I am noticing here, this rocker does look pretty nice. Look at this geometry up here. And I've said this a lot recently, but a rocker can make or break a shoe. Let me go grab one of the best rocker shoes I've come across recently. I'm actually going to get two. Look at this. Adidas Evo SL. This is a shoe that Adidas is trying to make a hybrid lifestyle shoe and performance shoe. And that's one of the reasons why I was interested in the Zara as well. From a business case standpoint, there's a whole trend right now, this gray area between performance athletics and aesthetic athletics. What do we want to buy to be fast and to have good workouts, and what do we want to buy to look fast and to look like we work out? And the Evo SL is striding that line. Adidas used this launch strategy where they positioned it more as a lifestyle shoe. They put it to lifestyle retailers. They stole from the Jordan playbook, the Yeezy playbook from their old Adidas brand of making this a coveted, hyped up product with limited supply to jack up that demand and get people interested in it. And it worked. But point here, bringing this out, look at that roll on the front. That provides a super smooth ride. And you can see on the Zara shoe, similar thing. It might even be more aggressive on the front. Another good one here is the Hoka Mach X2. And this is another brand that has done really well in the hybrid performance and aesthetics space. Hoka is a brand that's become synonymous with running shoe footwear because in urban places and cities, they're known as that comfort brand that still has that edge of fashion to it. And they just did a few collaborations with different, more trendy brands. They came out with a Mafate Speed 4 Lite, which is a shoe that I have, and it actually puts let me go grab it real quick. Okay, so look at this. I think this officially launched last week. I was able to get a pair early for Charlie for Christmas, but it puts a fashion upper on a trail outsole and midsole. So the whole bottom is performance. This is the type of shoe, the Mafate Speed 4, which people have legit used to run ultra marathons. And then the top is this fashion thing, which is not designed to withstand any sort of outdoor terrain at all. And look, they do a similar felt upper here to the Zara shoe. But point of bringing out the Hoka was, yes, to talk about that aesthetics, but also look at the rocker and the roll here. And that is one thing that it looks like Zara's designers have absolutely nailed. That rocker is great. All right, let's see if this thing comes in at the same stack that they're saying. Stack Raider 5000. All right, let's measure in this thing. So I like measuring in all the heels of the new shoes we get in here. Bada boom, bada bang. Look at that. 38.7 or 38.8 millimeters in the back. So dead on. By the way, when brands are reporting how tall these shoes are, they're typically using a size 9 or 9.5 around that, men's US. I'm a size 10.5, so sometimes it will be higher in my size. So look at that. Exactly how tall they said it was. For some context here, if you want to look at the Hoka shoe, now this one is $190, but a similar type of shoe. It has a race foam and a training foam in there. This guy is coming in at, I measured it yesterday, so I know, 40.68. And if you compare that to a racing shoe like the Saucony Endorphin Elite, the V2, which I brought out, remember that squishy melted marshmallow? This guy's a nice and tidy 39, right under that 40 millimeter heel regulation. So for any of these shoes that brands might design for their elite athletes to wear in races, it has to be below 40 millimeters in the heel, or they're not allowed to wear it for races. So competitive when it comes to the specs, seems very firm down here. Let me take a heel width measurement, because that is one of the areas that can really determine how these shoes run. And narrower heels mean your lower legs have to do more work to stabilize that shoe if you have any issues. So 88 millimeters on the widest part back here. If we compare to the Hoka, which is my favorite in this category here, 92 millimeters. So the Hoka is 4 millimeters wider, just about 5% wider. And let's take a look at the Boston 13 here. Boston 13 is 82 millimeters wide. So the Zara shoe is wider than the Adidas, but narrower than the Hoka. Very firm foam here. Nice aggressive rocker. Carbon plate. We'll have to see if there's actually a purpose or if it's here just to flex. There's only one way to find out. Pow! Hold on, we've got a QA check, so I took the other shoe out. The tag actually says US $199. That's interesting. So I don't know if they're planning on selling this for $200 and then realized they shouldn't, or if that's just a strategy, a tactic to get people to buy it. But it said $170 on the website, and it didn't say it was on sale or anything. But all right, let's measure or weigh in this other side. Remember, the left one was around 293 grams. Right side is 294.5. That's some solid QA. Good job, Zara. All right, lacing up the Zara Athletics carbon-plated running shoes. And man, they did the laces backwards in here. Oh gosh, they put them up. You know what I'm talking about? They put them down through the holes. You need to put them up through the holes. It's harder. It's just way harder to get the right fit with it that way. But we'll work with it. Ain't nobody got time to redo the whole thing. Also, gosh, you know what I'm noticing? This tongue, it's an exact Vaporfly tongue as well. That's hilarious. So yeah, they've borrowed heavily from Nike design shoe elements, but I guess what else are you gonna do, right? You want to beat them, join them, or steal? I don't condone stealing though, so. But that is what they did. This does have an ortholite, is that what it's called? Ortholite insole. And pushing it in with my fingers, I can feel it is pretty soft. And there's a nice step-in feel here. Now the actual foam itself, it is very firm. This is a firm shoe, but the fit is good. It's true to size, maybe even a touch long. It fits like a Nike. There's nothing uncomfortable about it on stepping. It is hard to get it on, combined with the way that this came laced from the factory and the back. So while this looks like a Nike upper, it does not feel like a Nike upper. The upper feels cheap, dare I say, and plasticky. Same thing with the laces. That's an area where they could have done better. So upper so far, not great. At least the lace-up experience is, it just feels too rough and rigid. It's not easy to put this shoe on. Bro, let's do a walk test here. I do like the way they look. Other than the weird dots, this is a clean colorway. Yes, they took it from the Alpha Fly, clean colorway. And oh my gosh, it feels very stable. Now, it's decently narrow back here, but it feels very stable because of how firm this foam is. This is one of the firmest foams that I've ever tried in one of these types of shoes. This is like a Hyperion Max type of foam from Brooks. That's a deep cut for the OGs. All right, let's walk. Super cold. I'm getting a jacket. I didn't realize how cold it was out here still, but most people who buy this shoe are likely going to use it to go to the gym, to walk around, do errands, occasional jogging. Other than the occasional jogging part, because I haven't jogged in it yet, it feels fine for all that. It's decently comfortable. The fit is nice and comfortable once I get it in. There's no weird spots. The upper has enough space. It has a nice, solid, secure midfoot area here, and it's not squishy and squirrely at all. So if you're going to get this to walk around in, I think it's going to be fine. Now, the moment of truth is going to come as soon as we start jogging. I do have to say, it still does not feel like there needs to be a plate in here, but maybe I'll get proven wrong when we run. So plan for this morning is a nice 10 to 12 mile aerobic run. I did 20 yesterday, so depending on how I feel, I might just cap it at 10, or if I'm clipping them off faster, then we can hit 12. Let's do this thing. Birds are singing today, man. All right, moment of truth here. Jogging in the Zara Carbon. This might be the best running shoe for doing a steroids allowed high rocks competition in South Beach. I'm trying to run fast and it's hurting my feet. I'm getting annoyed now. This is cultural appropriation by Zara. They're misrepresenting the shoe sicko community. They think just by putting a carbon plate in here, they can make a performance running shoe. It's not that simple. It's disrespectful. Gosh dang, mile 3, 7:24. This thing is still firm. Yeah, this is extremely firm at my jogging paces. And yes, it's a carbon plated shoe, so we should be pushing the pace in it. But guess what? Most people who buy this shoe, they're gonna have a mile pace that's slower than my jogging pace. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, that's just the truth. So if it's feeling firm to me, I'm going 7:01 pace right now, downhill, jogging. It's actually feeling better downhill here. But yeah, this is just extremely firm. I'm gonna have to see if I can get past the firmness, because there is some sort of juice with the rocker. Mile 4, 6:54. Feeling better when I dip below 7 or get down around 7 flat.
Instead of trying to make a carbon shoe, these fashion brands should make a 55 millimeter max stack shoe. Comfort. That's what I want from one of these lifestyle brands. I don't want a race shoe. Give us a stack gimmick that you can actually run in. The thing is, honestly, I hadn't even thought of Zara since 2019. So on one hand, their strategy of making a gimmick to get people talking about them is working. But on the other hand, I'm going to tell you to run far away from this thing. Then I guess all press is good press, right? You're just not gonna make a carbon shoe better than Nike, Brooks, Adidas, Saucony, A6. So why try? That's the question. And I think it's maybe to convert their audience, their customers, into buying this, or purely just to get people talking about them. That could be it too, right? And it worked. It worked. Now they're back in the conversation. So good job, Zara marketing. Mediocre to trash job, Zara performance people. Zara designers, good job too. It looks pretty good. Mile 5 was 7:12. I'm getting some more juice out of this foam. I gotta stomp on it, but under a 7-minute pace, it's okay. I feel like with the price too, $170. There's just so many good shoes at that price point. Mile 6, 6:56 pace. It's actually not bad at this pace. I'm getting into a groove with it. The front feels softer at these paces. The rocker is bopping me along. I'm cruising at this steady pace. It's not bad. Mile 7, up the huge hill, 7:07 pace. Mile 8, 7:05 pace. Mile 9, 7:08 pace. Cruising home for 10. Not gonna be a hero and run 12 in these this morning. Mile 10, 6:59 pace. Beautiful day. Dude, if you didn't get your miles in already today, you should definitely go do that, because it's beautiful. At least it is out here. I always call these Monday morning runs tone setters. You know what the tone for this week is? The tone is, I want to see everybody win. I want to see you win if you're watching this video. 10 miles in 800s, 7:13 pace. Yeah, that's a solid tone set and run. We're back on track. I took a detour last week with the treadmill marathon, and it was pretty much just a wash last week, all recovery, but back at 7:12 pace, not too bad. Now, these things are really hard to take on and off. Now, my typical everyday pace, by the way, is anywhere from 7 flat to 7:50. At my fitness, what my marathon fitness is, I should be running my daily runs anywhere from 6:40 to 7:30. It really just depends if you look at the books, but it depends on my level of mileage. It depends how recovered I am, and I do a fair bit of relaxed running, and if I'm not doing a workout, I just take it by vibes. So the vibes today were I had to be running at least a 7:10 pace to get anything out of this shoe, so I put some juice in it. If I were running in something like the Nimbus or even the Neo Zen or the Bandai or one of the other shoes I've been running recently, Mag Max, I probably would have been cruising at a 730 or 740. But solid run in the books in the Zara Athletics with a Z. TPE-A. I don't even know what this is called. Bro, this is... Gosh dang, this is firm. Before I say anything else, please go follow the Supwell Running Instagram. See, I always come out here and I hold the shoe like this. Today, I'm gonna hold it like this first so we could get the thumbnail for Instagram, because that's my priority right now, growing the Instagram, bringing the Supwell Running culture and analysis to a different audience. So I know a lot of people, not everyone loves the long videos. I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. I'm not forcing it on anybody. I appreciate everyone who connects with it. I'm really not trying to bother anybody with it, but I understand it's not for everyone. So on the Instagram, we're doing shorter reviews now. I did a 1-minute review of the Boston 13. So make sure you're following or subscribed. What is it called over there? Following. Make sure you're following the Instagram. We're going to grow. We're going to iterate. We're being consistent. We're posting once or twice every day. We got Grant, my guy Grant Reese. He's cranking on it. We're building the machine. I'm getting a new lens so we can get some better shots for the gram. It's the Supwell way, right? We test, we build, we iterate, we grow. So make sure you're following Supwell Running Instagram. That's the thumbnail right there. Zara. Right there. Right there. All right, so 10 miles in Zara's carbon-plated shoe. And let me tell you right off the bat, this is not a race shoe. It's not a race shoe in the same way that the Vaporfly is a race shoe, or the Alphafly is a race shoe, or the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris is a race shoe. Does it have a carbon plate? Yes, but having a carbon plate does not a race shoe make. There are even casual shoes now. There's an entire brand. It's called Anhu, A-N-H-U. They reached out to me on email. I should probably get back to them and tell them, no, thank you, I'm not interested. But their PR people reached out to me. I think it's owned by Deckers, maybe, the Hoka, people who own Hoka. It's owned by one of the big companies, I think. And they're putting carbon plates in casual shoes. We don't need to have a whole discussion about this right now, but what is the purpose of a carbon plate in a race shoe or a running shoe? Let me say it one more time before we dive into the analysis. The point is to increase the performance of a soft, compliant, unstable foam. The entire reason why Nike put a carbon plate into the original version of the Vaporfly is because without the carbon plate, that shoe wouldn't perform well. It wouldn't be fast, it would be too mushy, and it would be unstable on corners. So putting a plate into a casual shoe, it could have a different effect, but just because it has a plate doesn't mean that it's a good thing. It's like putting a spoiler on a minivan. What's the point of a spoiler? It's so that the drag and the aerodynamics work in a certain way so that you can get the most benefit out of the car going fast. You're not going to be banging corners and going 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds in a minivan, so it doesn't need a spoiler. That's essentially what Zara has done here with putting the carbon plate in a very firm midsole. This is a very firm midsole. This might be the firmest midsole foam that I've tried in 2025. I tested another firm shoe recently. I can't think of it, what is off the top of my head, and I think I said that was the firmest shoe I've tried so far this year. This has now surpassed it, but it does have a nice rocker that pretty much saved it. But I want to answer a few questions today. I always answer 3 questions in these first run reviews. I say, how does it compare to its intended purpose? How does it compare to everything in the category? And then how does it stack up to the rest of the market? For this, I want to answer a different set of questions. First is, why does this exist? And we can't look at these products in a vacuum. Yes, I am a performance-minded reviewer, and with all of these shoes, I want to put them through the paces. So a 10-mile run in a shoe like this from a fast fashion brand, that's putting it through the paces. Not very many other people out there are going to be putting this through a 10-mile run out of the box. Let me tell you that right now. So the reason this exists, my hypothesis is, and I mentioned this out there, it's one of 2 things. One, this is the generous interpretation of why this shoe exists. Zara is looking to serve their audience. They know people are coming into Zara
and they're interested in running is trending right now, or growing. Those are two different ways to look at it, right? Trending is the cynical way, growing is the optimistic way. I'm going to say growing. I think people are going to stick with it. Running is growing right now. They know a lot of people are coming into their stores to buy. I'm sure they have shirts you can run in and shorts you could run in. I actually do have a nice pair of, oh no, it's Top Man. That's another one of those fast fashion brands, Top Man and Zara. But they have stuff you can run in. This is part of their athletics with a Z line, so I'm sure they're going to be coming out with a bunch more stuff. They want to give their audience a product at a better cost that has a carbon plate that you can race in. Now again, this midsole foam is subpar. This is not the same as a Nike Zoom X. It's not the same as an Adidas Light Strike Pro. It's not the same as a Saucony Power Run HG or even a Brooks DNA Flash, even the standard version of DNA Flash, which is in the non-PB shoe. Now I'm speaking a lot of shoe sicko language right now, so bear with me. Point being, this is not this midsole foam, the performance of it and the feel of it, both performance and feel, is not on par with the big brands. But one way that we can evaluate why this shoe exists or answer that question is, hey, Zara wants to give their audience a shoe at a more affordable price point. All those shoes I just mentioned and brands, their shoes are $250 to $300. This is $170. The other way we can look at it is Zara's launching this new athletics thing. They want to capitalize on the trend. It's a money grab to just get attention and eyeballs and maybe even some sales. That's the cynical way that we could look at it. The third way we could maybe look at it is some of both. They want to capitalize. They want to do it in a cost-effective way. Did they care about making it the best shoe on the market? Probably not. And that's the whole ethos of Zara as a brand owned by Inditex out of Spain, is not to give the best quality products. It's to give really good-looking products that will hit for a narrow use case, whether that's going out or striking a certain look. And again, I used to be a Zara shopper 7-8 years ago. And I liked their stuff. It fit well. It looked good. Some of my favorite pieces were from Zara. But performance and quality, maybe not there. So that's why this shoe exists. And it's working. It's getting attention. It's getting eyeballs. The entire reason I even knew about this shoe was because it was popping off on Instagram. It was trending on IG. So I said, why not test it? And I test a lot of different things. So second question here. What is the performance of this shoe? I am first and foremost a performance reviewer, so let me go from top to bottom. Top, they took this upper design of the Vaporfly 2 and 3, they plopped it on here. The fit was actually really good. The fit was probably the best part of the shoe. It was maybe 2 millimeters longer in my size 10.5 than I would prefer, but the upper material, it cinched down nicely. It was hard to get it on foot. It's definitely not on par with the Brooks, the Nike, the Adidas, the Saucony in terms of the upper material, but they did a nice job, especially for the price point if you evaluate this as a real race shoe. But again, because of the foam, we have to evaluate more as a training shoe in the category of the Mach X2 and Boston 12, and for that, it's just okay for $170. It feels like a cheaper upper, and that's where the shoe is confused to me for the performance. Because they've stuffed the carbon plate in here, I have to compare this to the race shoes, and it is just so much more inferior to those shoes. But if you look at the performance against some of the training shoes, it's actually not the worst. And just looking at it for what it is, a standard foam in here on the firmer side, one of the best rockers that I've tried, actually. And that's the surprising thing here. The rocker is actually amazing, and that's what saved it. So as I was getting going, let's throw up the run here. 10 miles, I started off slower, low sevens. I think it was 730s, 740s, or 750s even, and then worked my way down to 657s. As I was getting some mustard on this run, getting it going, this is like a lavender mustard tee down here, and that's basically how the midsole and plate foam combination felt. Lavender mustard tee, that's a good way to describe it. But as I was putting some more mustard on it, it felt better. It never softened up, but I was able to work with the rocker, and it is a very firm foam. I don't know if you can see as I'm trying to compress this with my hands. It's just, dude, it's not budging. It's not really budging at all. So super firm, but the rocker saves it. And at that 657 pace, it was actually okay. I was clipping them off just right on the dot, 7 flat, 705, 658, right around that zone. And it felt okay. It was actually fine to cruise there. Now, any slower than that, and it was borderline punishing me. It did not feel great in the forefoot when I was going slower. The foam did not compress at all. It reminded me a lot of the Brooks Hyperion Max, which is the shoe that, the OG of that, not the V2, a shoe that almost felt like I was getting injured when I was running in it because it was so firm to me. So also, I'm more of a heel striker. I land more on the back of this platform, and the majority of people who walk into a Zara and buy this are also likely going to be heel strikers landing on the back. So doesn't feel great for landing on the back, does not feel great for relaxed miles. And again, with this carbon plate in here and the midsole already being firm, it's a double dose of firmness, which isn't needed. So I understand they need the plate in here from a marketing standpoint. If they just drop this as a daily trainer, an everyday shoe without the plate, it wouldn't have gotten nearly the buzz. But because it has the plate, people can say, oh, $170 race shoe. Wow, that's $130 cheaper than the $300 Diodora shoe. That's $100 cheaper than the Saucony shoe. If it didn't have the plate, it would just be another everyday shoe. And there's so many of these from these brands that are mixing performance and lifestyle, like the high-lows of the world, right? High-low impact. Even a brand like Tracksmith, which is more of an apparel brand. A lot of these apparel brands get into the sneaker game with the daily trainer. So I understand why they put the plate in here, but it's not necessary and it's not enhancing the ride. This would actually be a much better shoe without the plate. It just didn't have any balance. It didn't have that much give. As soon as I started walking at the end too, I said, man, this is a firm shoe. So it will be fine if you're just jogging for 30 minutes. But as a serious performance running shoe, it's just, no, there's better options out there for $170. Even something like the Nike Zoomfly 6, which I personally didn't love, that's a much safer bet. Something like the A6 Magic Speed 4, very similar formula to this, where you have a carbon plate and a training foam, but that's going to be significantly lighter than this. I believe my pair came in around 250 grams, or the Adidas Evo SL for $150 with a race foam, no plate. So the plate is the most gimmicky part of the shoe. It is runnable, and that's going to be one of the questions people ask. Is it runnable? Yes, you can run in it. Is it the most enjoyable? No. Is it a total gimmick? No, it's not. The upper is nice. The midsole foam is fine if you want a firm daily trainer or a firm shoe to run fast in, but it's not as explosive. It's not as exciting as other shoes, and the plate isn't doing anything other than driving eyeballs and attention to the shoe. So the last question I want to answer here was, what are the takeaways from this shoe from a brand perspective? Now, again, I understand why they did this, and I don't blame them. They're launching a new performance line. They want to get eyeballs. They got a lot of organic buzz. That's fine. However, I think it would have been cooler, and what I would love to see a brand do, yes, running is trending or growing, however you want to look at it. Yes, there's a new emerging cultural sector, the segment of people who are blending performance and aesthetics. But comfort is also a growing trend. Everyone has a daily trainer, right? And everyone wants to do a speed shoe. I think it would be cooler if a brand did a super max stack shoe, a 55 millimeter shoe that you could actually run in, that's the most comfortable. And that's what would make more sense for one of these brands who's known for apparel, because you're known for going into Zara and either buying something that looks trendy or a hoodie. It's the lifestyle, right? Lifestyle's comfort. I'm wearing a hoodie right now. It's not from Zara, but I'm wearing a hoodie right now. So one of these lifestyle brands, imagine if Lululemon came out with a 58 millimeter shoe. They're known for comfort and performance, right? What if they came out with a 58 millimeter shoe that was actually runnable and that felt good? It's like what Under Armour and Speedland did. That's how you nail it. That was the perfect shoe to drive the buzz and then actually have some sort of performance chops to back it up. It's just not credible. Zara is not credible dropping a carbon-plated race shoe, and that's why people thought it was a gimmick, and it's not a gimmick. You can run in it. I could run in it again. It would be fine, and if it were a banger out of the box, I would do my afternoon double in it, but guess what? That's additional work. I'm going to have to go back and edit that. No, I'm not going to run in it. There's enough insights. I'm going to run in something a lot more comfortable. So it's fine. I wish they did something different with it.
The plate does make me annoyed because it doesn't need a plate, and yeah, I just wish people knew what the purpose of the plate was. And by people, I mean the Zara product designers. This shoe doesn't need a plate. It's gosh dang firm. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on the Zara carbon plated $170 shoe. Don't buy this thing. Yeah, unless you're trying to get content for your own Instagram strategy, don't buy this thing. Buy the Asics Magic Speed 4 or the Adidas Evo SL, or if you want to pay some more money, get the Hoka Mach X2 at $190. Or wait until the Adidas Boston 13 comes out. I'm gonna be testing that for longer. That's cheaper than this. That's $160. So this is not Supwell certified. It's not a marathon certified. It's cultural appropriation of shoe sickos. That's what it is. I just fell in the grass. I'll be back tomorrow in another video.